All right, hey, Sam back with you here on Monday, February 19th. And by request, I have a number of members asking about ICON, ICX to Bitcoin here, and I've got it on Binance. We can go over here and check where I like to just get a snapshot of the coin, and I've done this coin before. So you can see we're well over the 50 that I like to use as a threshold here. Good developer interest. You know, this coin has not been around that long to have this kind of market cap, 1.8 billion. So this is a really strong project, and we can see where it's trading here. The bulk of it is on Binance here. So we've got, interestingly, now we've got this spread here where, of course, 70%, 70.5% is to Bitcoin, but we got a pretty good amount of trading against Ethereum as well, just a point of note. So if we come back here and look at it, so this is a 4-hour of ICON to Bitcoin on Binance. So all I've done here is try and get a handle on it, is wick off the low here. Now, in a 4-hour chart, I'm just trying to get a sense of, do I have a potential count, and is there anything here that catches my eye right off the bat? And as I said, I know we've done this coin before, so for some of you this may be a review, but it's a very good example of how you can use some of the tells the market will give you to try and get a feel for if there is a count and what that count might look like. So the first thing that gets my eye is right here. So is I look at this one wave here and I see this pivot here, right? So this is, and I assume this is a one wave here because this is my deepest correction. So since I've got very little here to imply a correction deep enough to offer up a potential second wave, my first thought is, just looking at that, is to work as this. This is my 1. This would be my 2. Now this gets a little funky in here. That might require a visit here, but I can see I've got a 3. I got a nice ABC here into the 4. And then it would appear that I finish with some sort of a diagonal. So looking at that, of course, the first thing I would do is wick off the 1 high. All right, and so get it right on there. Okay, so there's my 1 high. Well, let's do that again. So if I get it right on here. Now, so I'm going to kind of back into it and say, well, does that make sense? If that's my 1 high, what can I get for potential 2 to imply that I've got enough depth of retracement? And you can see it here. So that sets up rather nicely. So I get a 1, 2 here. Up here's the first algo target. We know that the third, the higher probability zones are going to be up here. This is the 1618. We don't get there, but we do get here to the negative 618 for an algo target. So I've got a good contender here. I can tell, because it's negative 618. That's going to be very close to the 1272. So if I just measure it here as that as a candidate for my third, if I just want to make sure, so if I look at that as my second, well, so I'm kind of in between here. So here's 100% the length of the 1. So I'm in the clear to qualify this as a third. Here's the 1272, and we're just in between. Looks like the 5th gets it. So I've got a contender here as a third. So that certainly plays. Now here's the tell, which would suggest to me that this is the 4, is that we get this retracement here, and it's to the tick. It does not overlap. Right? And that, as I will often tell you, does not happen randomly. That is a clear tell that we've got a 1 and a 2. This looks like the good 3, 4 down here, perfect hold, and then up we go for the 5. So I think that's a reasonable count for us to work with that would offer us the potential that what we have here now is a completed 5-wave sequence. So if we work on that assumption that I've got a 5-wave, well, now I'm just looking for the 1, 2. Right? So good technical setup. So to put it in the larger degree here, now I'd be working for this as there's some sort of 2 here going in here. 3, 4, and 5 would be going up higher. Let's go up a degree and make it so it's easy for you to see it. All right, so that certainly plays as a nice 1, 2 for us. Interestingly, from swing low to swing high, where do we go? We just get a few wicks into the golden zone. Is that our low here? It's not gorgeous in terms of the subdivision. I get a little retrace here, so I would want to go down to the hourly here. So if I move that and see what the subdivision looks like. So what do we get here? Can I work out some sort of an Elliott correction that would make sense? Well, this would look like we've got. This would look like it would be the 3, and then I can see 5-wave subdivision here, so it's hard not to call that my A wave. So if I just grab that would suggest to me an A wave. Then I get, it's a bit of a stretch to get that into a 3-wave, but I might go here. Now, can we get a C wave over here? So let's dig into this a little bit more closely to see if that really is, we're stretching here. So I guess I can do it this way. So I can get an ABC there. So if I, in a smaller degree, I could play this as 1, 2 into a C wave here. Let me change the degree. That you know, it's not horrible. It's not the prettiest correction I've ever seen. We'll change that color. So I can make that work. So that gives me a potential. So here's the A wave low. It takes us right just a wick or into the golden pocket. So we get that. So I can get a good 5-wave sequence. So here's my B. So I've got an A B. Now here's where this we've just, you could call it a double bottom. I would like to see it come down a little further here. So if I look at that, just working off of this as my B, this potentially this first significant pivot here, so I get a little hot box down here that I'm starting to like. So, I know people are, asking, looking, is it time yet? Well, that's kind of interesting there where we get that perfect overlap here. So if I'm working from my B high here to what may be the 1, 2, it's a little choppy in here, but just from a straight algo pull, from pivot high to low, here's my 50. We get through it just a hair. This prior support, perhaps a little resistance here. And now if this will come down again, then I could probably get this into a cleaner count. Right, this is where you make a decision as to whether or not you want to try and impose Elliott wave rule set, or you just want to, grip it and rip it. Just take it because it's low. Do you want to be a technical trader and try and, get the highest probability zone? Well, you're probably a little soon here. If we're trying to get a 5-wave sequence out of this to complete, this would be a zigzag. We'd have a 5, 3, 5. That's. It ain't gorgeous here. So you'd have to that doesn't work. So you'd have to go. Yeah, I don't like it. So that's where so you have to decide here, right? So I'm trying to get a 5-wave structure on this to give me a 5, 3, 5 for just a straight zigzag correction because of this suggesting. So if I go down to my oscillators here, is that any help to me? Well, this is. That's the deepest punch of the oscillator here on the Elliott oscillator. So could I make a case here that I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It still implies a wave here. I get the 3-wave correction. So can I get 5 waves here? That's what I'm trying to get, and I don't love it. So this can't be. You'd have to play it this way. So we'd have to go down. Let's go to a 30-minute and see if we can get that to give us a decent 5-wave. Trying to tee up. If it's time to buy it, or we just have to wait patiently. So at first glance, you might say, well, I'll just wait for it to get here. But if I can get a 1, 2, 3 in that, so I might be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That would imply that we've got a failed break here. So we'd have to take this down here. So I'd have to do it this way. So I'd have to go 1, 2. It ain't pretty. So now we'd look at that. So working from that swing high to that low, again, there it is again. So we get this reinforcement down here. I don't love that. Last thing I would measure would be if that's my 1, that's my 2. So that's a little more encouraging as evidence for that being the 3rd, but then I've got a very long, relative to this 2, the length of that 4 is that just lacks the symmetry that you'd want to see in a decent count. But we are corrective here, so maybe you can make the case here that it ain't pretty. Again, both coins today, I feel like a little bit like I'm forcing here to try and give you something to work with here. Just the length of the 4 suggests there's a problem here. So even if you make, it's not great. Even if you play it that way, it just is not. Now you're running into issues with that as the 3rd. So you'd have to keep it here as a 1, 2, 3, long 4, going down for the 5. So because of that, it's. You could make the case that if we can come down here, if we can get this to play as the 4, 5, we've got the algo target here, we've got the hot box of the 6, 5, 6, 1, 8. So longer term, those algos will be buying here. They started here, they get the reaction back down here. Maybe it's a double bottom, it has to be tested again. If I were going to trade it, and I don't know that I would. I don't love this setup, but if I were going to trade it, I might, look for something else to help me with it. This gets a little bit better here. Maybe I get some market geometry here to provide this channel coming down here into this box here. Makes it tradable. But again, you have to ask yourself, do you just want to be in this coin for fundamental reasons? You're just looking for it's low, you want to be a buyer, you like the story, you're not concerned about that gap, whether you buy it here, whether you buy it here. Do you care because you're looking to play long term? If we go back out to that 4 hour, does it really matter, right? If this is going to play as a 1-2, does screwing around here trying to get the tightest, most perfect technical entry matter to you? Maybe it doesn't, right? I just try and give you a technical perspective on it. I mean, I like it better there. So since we're kind of coming down and it looks like we might be going down to tap that bottom to check it, I mean, that's worth waiting for to see if you can get a better entry. I mean, why not? It doesn't look like it's in a hurry to go wherever it's going. And if indeed we're going to go up here and trade, this is going to play as an Elliott count, we know that third is going to be way up here, right? So there's a lot of upside. So do you force it in here? Yeah, it's trader's call. Do you care about that difference from where we are now to where the algo target is? Well, some will, right? Depends how aggressive you are, how much you want to put into it. You could certainly start nibbling here, just small pieces, looking to that on the idea that you don't want to miss it. So if it starts to move off of this, I would suggest to you that if it starts to move, you're going to get a clean 5-wave structure. It's not going to go straight up. So, I would wait. Right? I mean, just why force it? There's just no reason to. I would wait if it starts to take off here and you feel like, oh man, what have you missed? That little gap. You get a good 5-wave. Now you've confirmed that you have a double bottom here. Right? Maybe you get that. Maybe you confirm this as a 5th down here. At least you would imply the double bottom is here. And you start to move off of it, well, plenty of time to get on board. You're going to have a 1-2. So I'd ride the 2 knowing that I had a technical pivot down here and wait to catch the 3 of what would likely be the third of the first wave. Because if this is going up towards those upper targets, we got to establish a 1 wave. I mean, there is a lot of upside to go there. So, that's just your choice as to whether or not you want to just start averaging in here on the assumption that if it's going to go down lower, if you're going to get on the other side of the 65, now maybe you rethink it and just look for a better entry, maybe take a small loser there. It's not gorgeous, but this is where I think you can make a pretty strong case to where you could start buying here with a stop on the other side of the 65, so you can buy a little bit more aggressively here. You've got the algo target just in front of the 618, so I would alarm it. I would alarm it here as it starts coming down. We get a little closer. Maybe that's your first entry, looking to catch the pivot there, just because of the technical nature of it. Maybe you catch that, then you'd look to add along the way. All right? That's what I see.